Neighborhood Restoration and Beautification Commission. Are there any comments, public comments on the agenda-related items?
Let's get started.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
So moved by Lucas, supported by Liz. And the meeting minutes were shared with you. Is there a motion to approve the meeting minutes from the January 2nd meeting?
A motion.
Support.
I was just gonna ask what changed.
Oh, Kayla.
For the updated ones.
Yeah.
So I sent it to Heather Peffley, and then I had some things to update on it. So I just sent it back out after I updated. I don't know if you're supposed to or not. I just wait until.
Yeah, no, I was just curious what
Yeah.
the updates were, if it was just minor
But
grammatical things or
It
whatever.
also took me like a long time to do those because I was working so much, and I didn't know they have to be done within a certain time frame. So it took me a while.
They look good.
Yeah, and we
Thanks.
got
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And as always, just an update on what our purpose is for the NRBC. We want to identify, research, and recommend opportunities and resources to help prevent, remediate, or eliminate blight from the city of Manistee. Thank you for being here, Toby, too. And identify, research, and recommend opportunities and resources to help beautify the city of Manistee. So with that, in our unfinished business, we've been talking at several different meetings about the mural process for the city. A week or two ago, the chief and Bill had Mr. Gamble had a meeting with our city attorneys, and they recommended pursuing a public art easement. So the attorney is going to look at drafting language for the easement and a council policy on murals. So that's where it's at right now.
So the public art easement for that specific mural that we've been trying to work on, or?
It sounded like, he didn't really clarify that. All he said is if we were able to get a public art easement, then we could possibly spend NRBC funds to help with that as well.
That would
That's a
change a lot
difference.
with that
Yes,
one.
yes. So they were looking at that and then looking at policy for council for an easement as well.
Nice.
So the attorney was going to do some more digging, get some language, and then he was going to bring that back to us to look at
Okay.
as well.
Did he have a timeline for that? No.
He did not. No. I will ask him for an update, though, before the next meeting, if he has one, just so we can kind of keep on it and kind of put this to rest.
Yeah,
I know.
that would be great to get that taken care of so we can actually work on a project on it for
Right.
this year.
Yep.
Awesome.
The master plan, the 2025 NRBC recommendations, we worked on that list at the last meeting. Lucas presented to city council on Tuesday. Do you have anything to share from that, Lucas?
Yeah, I guess I could talk about, so it seemed like it was other ideas from, MDOT actually brought up the trees along the US 31 corridor, and I think someone else did too. I can't remember, but so I kind of focused on that a little bit when I brought up a couple of our goals. I was like, well, that, if it seems like it's a pretty common consensus there, that would be pretty cool to work with the tree commission on implementing that, or, I know MDOT even mentioned that they would actually fund the trees, so trying to figure out, some sort of, trees that we plant along the US 31 project eventually, that'd be great. Let's see if there's any other highlights. There wasn't a whole lot of comments, and, I did ask council to review these, and try to give us some feedback, so hopefully we get every council member to give us some, it all looks great, or I
Right.
don't really like this one, or I got a couple other ideas, so I'll make sure I follow up with the city manager on that, because otherwise, we told them our goals, and if we don't get any feedback, that doesn't really benefit us.
Right.
So I'd like to,
Have their input for direction.
yeah, I'll follow up on that, and hopefully we get some direction there.
Okay.
Let's see if there's any other. No, I think the other update that I really focused on was just our spring cleanup event. You know, I think we're gonna talk about that more later, but, just how we can, you know, make it better. How do we get more than, I think we got 100 or so people show up to the last year's one. How do we get that to be 500, you know? So that's pretty much it. It was short and sweet. Thanks.
The only other comment I had there is I had wrote down from our last meeting that we wanted to put on the agenda for this meeting, what our vacant building ordinances were and what language the DDA might have. Lucas and I briefly discussed it, and we weren't really clear on whose task that was to find that information before this meeting. So I do have it noted to table for March so that we can get the information that we need for that. And
So that was, if, just to recall, that was, we were asking, we were thinking that we should ask the DDA for any recommendations for vacant
Well-
buildings downtown.
well,
Is that what it was?
update on vacant building ordinance, and then we wanted to know if the DDA has any language, because I think we discussed, you know, how long can a residence or a building in the city sit vacant before it's blight, and then what does that look like for downtown as well? So I think that's what we're looking for.
I'd be interested, Toby, how do you feel about downtown buildings being vacant and blighted? I mean, is there any different enforcement or?
If, you know, if they're blighted, that, you know, Jerry and I are working through that right now, and, you know, vacant, as long as they're maintained, you can't do a whole lot. But if the broken windows and, you know, we were into one of those buildings here, you know, maybe 2 months ago, and it's definitely uninhabitable upstairs. Gentleman thought he was going to put whole, or apartments up there. Well, he had a lot of work to do. So it's a tough one, just because if they own them and they're running a business underneath, and like that one was, there's a fully operating business downstairs, but the upstairs was nasty
Yeah.
to go easy on it. I mean, I wanted to get out of there as quickly as we got in there, put it that way. So, but it's tough, because if there's no broken windows, if there's no, you know, peeling siding or paint or whatever like that, it's tough for us to act on anything. You know, it's private property, so.
I know there's a couple, like, very beginning, and I don't think anybody else was on the commission at the time, but the very beginning of the NRBC, like the first 2 or 3 meetings, there was a few business owners downtown that thought that the commission was formed because of them. And so I don't know, you know, much about it, but I do know that there's always been talk about, there's a few businesses downtown that are just, you know, there's holiday decorations sitting out there, or locked door with boarded up windows for.
Well, they're defunct businesses.
Yeah.
They're not a business.
Right,
Right.
That's the reality.
that's true.
In some of the businesses, you know, I know we've gone after a couple of the businesses down there because they're not following the rules of the historical district as well. So we have gone after that as well and had them remove signs and banners, and actually there's some facade that has to be removed here within 90 days by a court order. So it's being watched down there. Graffiti, I just dealt with graffiti on one of the buildings, you know. So we definitely have an eye on it, but I don't know how much sometimes power we actually have,
Yeah,
you know, unless it really starts to show from the street.
it's just a high visibility area, so it's a bummer to the public.
Yeah, you know, if things like that we're addressing immediately. I mean, the graffiti, the illegal signs, you know, the things that are popping up that are definitely against the ordinances, we're dealing with those right away.
Okay.
And there are some blighted buildings not downtown too, that are unused and vacant, you know, that look pretty rough. And some of those are actually more even in little neighborhoods.
Yeah,
So-
Yes.
yeah, where the old truck route
Yeah,
cleaning.
exactly. You don't want to
Yeah,
clean
we have several on Sibbon Street that we're
Yeah.
dealing with right now. Yeah.
them. Exactly, that probably aren't even safe, you
Nope.
know?
Well, just hearing that there's been some movement on some things that, you know, not everyone would know downtown, I think is great. I mean, because I don't know if that was always the case for the last 10 years or not, but
And I think making people aware, you know, that's part of it. It's a little breezy out there today. Making people aware, you know, we're trying to educate as well. We're not trying to just come out and say, you know, same with blight, same with, you know, what the garbage that I deal with and that. It's an education process that once you educate people,
Yeah.
most people will come around and understand. There's gonna be some rebels out there that you're gonna have to deal with in the court system, and that goes on every day. So, I know we're in court a lot more than we ever used to be.
yeah, that's
You know,
great.
between Jerry and myself, we're there weekly.
Does the court cooperate pretty good
Yes.
with you?
The court has been very, very good. Yes, Judge Henry is very good, and the magistrate understands as well what we're trying to do. So, yes, they have both been very favorable for us.
Good. Okay, any other discussion on the master plan or our recommendations?
I guess one last thing, I know Sarah and I, like, kind of manipulated the text a little bit from guidance from the last meeting. I'll send that around
Oh,
to
yeah,
everybody, so we have that in our folders there. Just kind of reworded a couple things as well.
clean it up a
so,
little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll send that around.
In a banner update, Lucas, you're working with,
Yeah, consumers.
yep,
Yeah, I think we just need to go out now, and now that it's a little bit nicer, maybe we can go and take some photos of all the poles to just make sure we have our final decision on
Okay.
where we want some of the stuff, and then I think we were waiting for a quote though too, right, for more?
well,
Or did she honor?
she did email, at first she said they weren't running any promotions.
Yeah.
And then she emailed again and said that, she had gotten the green light to basically give us the same promotion that we had got last year. So, but I didn't move forward with anything, because I think
I
we
think
have,
we should commit to a budget for it.
yeah, well, and we also have other things in new business that could potentially take our budget right now as well. So I guess
It's true.
we can, I guess after we get through that, at the next meeting, we can add banners back to the new business of if we're going to move forward with looking at more or not at this time.
Yeah, I mean, I think some of the others, I mean, we've been planning for the banners for probably a year now, I think, right? And, you know, I personally think that, you know, we have our budget and that is serving, you know, some of our goals. You know, I'd be in favor of having some of it dedicated to it, and even if it has to wait, you know, a meeting or so, but we should probably do that quickly, because I think rolling out, you know, I did say that to council
Yeah.
on Tuesday, rolling out the banners in the spring or early summer would be awesome.
How many do we have so far?
I think it's 14.
14 or 15.
Yeah,
And what's their goal to have how many?
Well, so
I
currently,
think that costs like 5,000.
yeah, it costs 5,000 for the ones that we got, which includes installation and everything.
Okay.
So currently, we have 10, I believe, that are earmarked for the US 31 corridor. And Lucas and I walked it one day and kind of decided right now we would start at, I think, 3rd Street down to 1st Street.
Yeah. Down to River.
Down to River, I'm
Third to
sorry.
River.
3rd down to River. And then we also have 4 that are, have the police department logo on them. And so those, in my ideal world, are going to go on Maple. But we
Well,
were.
I think now with the new poles.
Yeah,
I
now
think-
the new light poles are in. At the time, we didn't have new light poles. They were rusted out, so we're like, why would we put them on there if that those poles are gonna get replaced, but now we have new poles. So at the time, when we were looking at banners, it was thought about too of, this project came about because Mary Kay brought up the fact that, like, we need to do something down First Street towards the fireplace to kind of beautify that a little bit. And,
The fire station.
the fire station, yeah. And so, I brought up the idea of these banners. We have them in Bear Lake all over by the school, down the 31 corridor. So we would like to purchase some banners with the fire department logo on them as well and put them down their way. And I think DPW was discussed at a meeting I wasn't at, but that was discussed
Yeah.
as well. And then purchasing more for the highway, so kind of every year we can have a phase of them rolling out till we reach status.
Yeah, so I mean, if we got, I mean, the fire station, we did look at that. I think there was only
There's only a couple
like
poles.
3.
Yeah,
That
at
made
max.
kind of sense right there. And then DPW, I'm sure there's only a couple poles that are around there. So I mean, we could, increase the amount on the highway or another area. We've talked about Maple, Washington,
Yep,
just kind of roll out a lot of them.
yep.
Just like the street name signs, like,
Yeah.
you don't even notice it, and then do a project like 8th Street, and then think it was like 17 blocks.
Yeah.
And then, oh, yeah, those look good. So,
How big again were these banners?
5 feet,
Yeah.
5 feet?
yeah. Yeah, I might have took them all out for the
Is
council.
that standard? Is that what yours are in Bear Lake?
Yeah.
Those look nice.
Yeah. Well, actually, the ones on the highway in Bear Lake are smaller.
Oh, we got
The ones
bigger
around the school are the bigger ones.
Bigger,
But,
okay.
yeah, so we got the bigger ones, but you can still see the ones on the highway in Bear Lake just fine. Yeah, yep.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah, 5 feet by 2.5 feet. So,
very nice.
They look nice.
I'm just excited to finally have them go up.
yeah.
Like, I think that will.
Yeah, I just think that at this point, and we're gonna wait until the spring or summer anyway.
Yeah, oh, right.
But, the clock's ticking a little bit to make that decision if we wanna wait to get a couple more, ordered to roll them out, or,
I think that's really up to
yeah, to everybody
everybody.
here.
What is everyone's thought?
I mean, I would like to, but definitely we need to look at the new business first to see what that is going to entail for us, if that's something we're going to take on.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
But I don't see why we wouldn't be able to add to them every year, We don't need to do 14 every year, but we could do a few every year and get to where we want to be.
Do you think that, I know we just presented it to council, but do you think that there'd be a council appetite to, I don't know, help us with the budget there, do you think? I mean, if we were to,
Possibility.
do you think so?
Yeah.
I don't know if it's really been talked about, but,
It hasn't, I don't believe, but yeah. It's, that's not,
just because we're so limited, I mean, from the parks too, it's like the Parks Commission, we don't have a whole lot of budget, yeah, so,
yeah, and a lot to do.
yeah.
And ordering more at a time.
Cost-effective.
It's cost effective not only on the banners, but it's also cost effective on installation.
Yes, on everything.
Because you're only getting polling permits, all those things, one time when they come to do that
And
installation.
then if you ever
So-
want to change them and do a mass change, you don't want them all to be incrementally
Right.
worn differently.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
good point.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, that sounds good, we can
Okay,
keep going on that then.
all right. So new business, Blossom Boulevard. I shared with everyone the emails exchange that I had with Kendra regarding Blossom Boulevard. As you know, she's kind of been managing it and is looking to get rid of it. She has too many other things going on. It appears that we have until, or she has until February 15th to give a final decision on the flowers. And I think what our group is really tasked with is determining if this is a project that we want to take on or not. And I'm just going to speak and say, if this is not done well, it will be a fail and a black mark on our commission. And I don't think that's what any of us want. I think we're all here because we want to promote our community. And I just have real concerns of picking this project up now in February when it's really supposed to be planned for now, and then kicking it off in just a few months. The other things that I've thought through are when the highway project is complete. I wondered about trees, but you brought it up before I could say it. And I just wonder if we're better off to consider taking a pause on Blossom Boulevard for at least a year, so that if that is something this commission wants to take on, we have the proper amount of time to really plan and make it effective.
I agree with you on that, because not only are we lacking members, but we're lacking
Time,
well, not only-
money, volunteers, everything.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And we're still a very new commission, and now we have new people appointed to different positions, and we have somebody not there, and we have somebody not coming back. Like, I think it would be unfortunately too much for us to take on right now. I know that the Little River tribe does a lot for the community. Maybe that's something that they would even want to take over. I don't know for sure.
Right.
That's just me throwing something out there. But something that's a little bit bigger of an entity that has been around a little bit longer, has the numbers, has the following, something like that. But I agree. Since the last meeting, I've been going over it, and I'm like, gosh, that would be so great for us, but we don't have the numbers even on our board that we truly need. And I know all of us are so busy that I can't commit to heading that. Kayla can't, you can't. Nobody can really commit to heading that at this point. So unfortunately, I definitely, I agree with you on that.
So my perspective on it, and it'll be a little bit biased because I'm not going to be coming back, but in 2027, 2028, when the highway's reconstructed, you're not going to have
Yeah, that's
a
what I
strip.
wondered.
I agree 100%
You're gonna have
with that.
you're gonna have an 10 foot wide area. So
Pedestrian.
are you gonna have a strip, then grass, then sidewalk? I mean, it would still look good. I don't know. It's different, right? It's not that either way is good or bad, but I think it's just different. And it's either like you said, Sarah, you do it and you do it well, or you don't do it and it's grass. I mean,
Well, so that was my question, thinking it through. What's the unintended consequence of this? What happens to that space right now if Blossom Boulevard doesn't occur? I don't know.
right. I think it's grass. I mean, the city DPW would go through and rototill the grass out to plant the flowers,
Right.
right? Isn't that how it worked? I mean,
Yes.
I believe so, yeah.
Yes.
So, grass. That's my perspective on it.
But maybe a committee, because we seem to do things sometimes, short-term thinking and not long-term. And I don't mean this, I'm definitely talking about this group because I'm not, but even as a city.
Yeah.
That let's look to 2027, that's gonna be here before we know it. We got that grant that it's gonna be a pedestrian walkway, you've got people walking there. You want that to look good, it's not just a quick drive-by. I mean, what works, what's working in other towns? Is perennials a better answer? And I know they said no, but part of the Riverwalk, the plan that they've already talked about on the highway, is perennials. And then they talked about trees, and so is there a mixture of perennials and trees, but, we need someone with some landscape experience, and people do the perennials work on the highway? We're not the first town that has planted
Right.
flowers on a highway.
Yep.
Is there a better way, more long-term, little labor, less intensive, that is more permanent? And
Right.
look forward and plan it and draw it and have, see what the width is gonna be, and, do we put stones in there, do we put things in there, is there a little bench in there, but look long-term, not just flowers for this year, but what do we envision down the road as the gateway going through town?
And we talked about it a little bit offline, Liz and I did, about, it was a kind of a committee, but like a volunteer committee, not affiliated with the city before, Blossom Boulevard, right? I mean, if nobody is gonna pick that up, maybe it is something for the city to consider making, I don't know, a Blossom Boulevard committee, like in-house, so then it's got support from city council, or, it is maybe a combination of this group with subcommittees in the future.
I
you
mean,
know?
the other option on that is, if instead, after, you know, everything is redone and everything, what about the hanging baskets that are down? You know, that would be much less labor intensive. It'd be, you know, we get together one day to get everything put together and hung, but then the hangers that are on the posts, is that, you know, do we purchase that? Is it a particular post? You know, things like that.
Are you saying for the highway? Yeah, that might be pretty.
Because I think one of the things was to propose additional pedestrian lighting too, in that grant, right?
Yes,
And,
yes, that was big.
And I think it's important to remember too that just the highway getting reconstructed
Yeah.
is gonna be a facelift,
Yes.
right? Like
Yes.
right now, all the flowers that get planted down there kind of draw your eyes away from the,
What exists.
what exists on the sidewalks and the bad road and all that stuff, so I don't know, maybe it will be pretty nice without the flowers too, I don't know.
But I think we want to plan for that, don't?
Yeah.
You
Oh,
know, they'll have the drawings pretty soon, and we'll see what the space is, and then how do we want to utilize them? Which space has most pedestrians, which one?
So I think we would need that to be tasked to us from city council.
Okay.
Am I misspeaking there, Lucas?
I
Because,
mean, do we even want to take, I mean,
It-
but Lucas said, maybe there should be a landscaping commission. I mean, there's more,
Yeah.
sometimes, you know, what coordinates the whole town? What is, you
But-
know?
No, I think it's all about being, I mean, we're all volunteers for all of our commissions, so I think it probably does apply to our commission more than others. I mean, and that's why that's why Bill brought it to us.
Okay.
To discuss. I think that it sounded like the consensus is most of us would love to do it. I think just not in 2 months.
No.
And,
absolutely.
and
I
it's
just
not,
think
it's
we-
not, it just,
And
it's a bummer more
You know,
than
none of us want that.
right.
You know, I also don't want it to be overgrown weeds there.
Which
now.
that happens too, right? Like
Well, it happens
after
when the flowers are there.
Yeah, the flowers are growing, and it takes like a few weeks for them to actually,
Yeah.
get big enough to where you're like, oh yeah, that's really popping, and then it takes another few weeks for this area not to be weeded, this one not to be weeded, and then it's like, okay,
But if there's not a Blossom Boulevard this year,
What will there be?
what will there be?
yeah,
And I think that's the unintended consequence of not having Blossom Boulevard. Then do we just have a whole bunch of overgrown weeds hanging along the highway? I don't
yeah. I
want
think we
that.
probably need to confirm who's gonna mow that grass. Are we gonna have to coordinate a lot of noxious weeds
Because
enforcement or what?
when Blossom Boulevard went all the way up to 8th Street, that was fine, but then that stopped and now grass is planted in those areas. So I don't know who planted that grass, but
Yeah, or if it was just wild.
it looks like decent grass. So, I don't know who I would ask that question to.
Probably Jeff on
Okay.
DPW would be the one calling
I think it would have been good to know when we were all something to do 6-7 months ago, but
Well,
And I'm sure she was kind of up in the air about it. I'm sure
yeah,
she didn't want
yeah, I don't think it's a fault.
something like that.
Fault
Yeah.
of anyone,
she
but-
did send this original email, December 10th to the city manager.
So we wouldn't have met until January, right?
Yeah, which is when he brought it to us.
Right.
So, I mean, it's all, but it's just the time frame of it, is, I just don't think feasible to be successful.
I agree.
And I think maybe keep it on the agenda as an item, like unfinished business, and maybe not call it Blossom Boulevard.
I think it's like the US 31 corridor or something.
Yeah, yeah.
Beautification of US 31.
Yeah.
Beautification corridor, yeah.
Yep.
All right, is there any more discussion on that?
If we don't, like you were saying about the, skip a year of the flowers, and then of course, things will grow there. I mean, I don't mind taking the mower and mowing the grass. I asked, there's some areas that don't have Blossom Boulevard.
Yeah.
It's real high. And it was almost the 4th of July, and I asked, I said, because I just lived there, and I was just gonna go right down the street. But then it's like, I'm always afraid that we're going to get in trouble because we exceeded our boundaries. And so I left it in, it was like that for the 4th. I mean, if you want to make it so that we will take care of what does grow there without the flowers, I would be happy to, if we get the okay, to once a week go down there and what's growing.
Well, I think that's part of the discussion is finding out who's responsible for maintaining that. Like, I know the house next to me is on the highway and they mow that portion. So I don't know if that's the homeowner that is responsible for maintaining that or,
Then sometimes they say, well, we'll give them we don't want you to mow it because we were gonna give them a ticket or something. Well, that's fine, but then it didn't get done.
so I will reach out to the city manager and to Jeff and see just what that looks like.
Yeah, because I mean, just going back to what you said, Kathy, I mean, doesn't mean that we have to be the ones to do it, right? We've tried to build this list.
Yeah.
You know, if it is something that, we can reach out to Toby or Chief Glass on, hey, can we send out a letter for noxious weeds to this person? We've done that. I mean, we've done that probably a dozen times in the
Yeah, we
last
do
3
it,
years.
we do it all the time.
Yeah, and probably being a lot more on top of it on the highway might need to happen, right? But if that doesn't work, or if we want to help out, we could always advertise that to our volunteer list and say, hey, Blossom Boulevard didn't happen this year, and but weeds are starting to grow. Is there any volunteers that want to have a cleanup day and go out there and
Okay.
cut grass and pull weeds from the sidewalk? I mean,
Yeah.
we had that day we pulled all the weeds from like two blocks in the sidewalk, and
Just
that
the 3 of us.
yeah, there's like 3-foot tall weeds in the sidewalk there.
Oh my God.
How do we feel about, like, PSA that this isn't happening?
I don't think that's our responsibility because we haven't taken the project on.
But letting anybody know, I mean, should the city say something so that people aren't just
I think,
angry?
I think that would probably be up to.
I think that would be up to the city manager.
Yeah.
So how do we say something to them about that?
Oh, I'm gonna let
Probably.
him know what
Okay.
the result of
think
our
so.
meeting was. Yeah,
Okay.
yep.
Because I can see it now.
Okay.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
And if someone wanted to take that on, someone coming but a volunteer,
Then they could.
that'd be fine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And we'll start planning for when the highways.
Forward on you.
Yeah,
Right.
absolutely. All right, any other discussion? Okay, spring cleanup day. Kayla, what you got for us?
So I spoke with Bill about what they did for last year, and we are going to set a date to meet up and
Okay,
talk everything over. But he did say for 6 containers, like last year, it was $3,780 for 6 containers. I was just wondering, did we cover
No.
No.
that? Okay.
I think we split it.
No.
No, we didn't pay any.
Yeah, the city refuse fund covered it.
Okay.
So yeah, we didn't have to take that out of our budget. We probably need to confirm
Yeah.
was
for the
This-
next meeting.
What was the 6 containers?
For.
You know what? That was the quote. You're right.
Yeah.
We didn't end
They
up
only
using
did
that
one
because
time.
we did
Yeah.
Yeah.
there wasn't a container at all. It was the truck.
The truck.
And he left once.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
He was
it was
full
way
once.
it was way cheaper than that.
Yeah, so he said it's $5.95 per hull. Price would include up to 6 tons of weight. Any additional tonnage would be billed at $60 a ton.
Yeah, it was probably like $700 that we paid.
Because last year we were talking about a few different dump sites. That's, I think, what
Yeah.
you had originally gotten a quote on, right?
Yeah, yep. And that's why we compared it to the other company too.
Does the tire trailer cost extra as well?
So, separate thing.
Okay.
Just the DPW was always doing the recycle event, and that just happened to be what they picked.
Okay.
I'm sure they'll talk about that when
Yeah.
Kayla meets, but
Yeah,
I
that's a
don't know what
question
they're
I
gonna
have
do.
for him too.
I think that was great. The tires
Yeah,
too.
I
I mean, that
filled
was
half the
huge.
truck or more.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Yeah.
The other
It-
thing I wrote down that I think you brought up at the last meeting was battery recycling.
Mm-hmm.
So I
Well-
don't know if there's options for that.
Yeah, and I know last year, wasn't it, a couple weeks later, they were doing paint and battery take back at the,
Road commission.
yes. So if we are able to line anything up and it's within close proximity, you know, a couple weeks out, I think it'd be great if we could print off flyers and let people know, hey, you can drop this stuff here, but in 2 weeks, there's this one over there.
Yeah, I almost wonder if, last year we were just going off of, what was being planned for their tires and then also bulk cleanup. I wonder if it would be useful to kind of advertise what the public thinks that we need, for a cleanup day. I mean, our purpose is trying to get the junk out of the yards, right? But,
And I'm all about like
and I don't want to hear,
resources.
I'm
Spring
sure,
pickup.
I'm sure people are going to say cardboard.
Spring pickup.
People are going to say cardboard, but,
I'm all about giving people resources too, like, hey, we have this coming up. Hey, there's this coming up. Oh, you need access to this, So if it
Well,
all
I
has to
think-
do with that anyways, then
I think if it was cheaper and more efficient anyway to have the truck do it instead of the bins, and the reason for those that don't know, the truck was able to, compact it. So you can put as much in one truck as, I think he said like 6 bins or something. So maybe it does make it easier to have
And then
multiple
this-
sites now.
Wasn't the scoop came down lower too? They could just sort of.
Yeah.
because you didn't have to put it up and into,
Right.
yeah.
And we took in grills, we took in bigger things. We didn't really turn anybody away.
Right.
All right, so Kayla, you'll have hopefully an update for us at the
Yep.
next meeting
Yep,
then?
after I meet with Bill and the manager of Republic, AJ.
Okay.
I'll have more discussion on that.
And Jess is right, resources provide, because I don't think everybody takes advantage of that first trash pickup of the month. You can put something out. I think you don't have to keep it in your yard till this event, put it out. So I think people forget that, and whether we should put a little thing in the newspaper periodically or whatever, if they would even help us.
And I know they do try to post, like on the social media pages, like the reminders and stuff.
Yeah,
Good
maybe
at
the
that.
newspaper would, because that's a good service, and doesn't have to all be one time.
Right.
Do they take scrap too, or not?
Last year at our pickup,
Yeah.
they did.
Okay.
The city just kept it off to the side. They filled up their own truck with the scrap.
Okay.
Oh, yeah,
So-
I forgot about that.
Yeah, and that's the other thing too. Will whoever you're talking to, will they also line up the city workers again? Or is that something that we have to go talk to them and see if they're on board for?
Okay, yeah, I'll
Or
ask
how
him.
does that, I'm not sure how it works.
Yeah, I
last
think we
year.
should probably be a little conscious of trying to get some volunteers to help out. I mean, most of us went, but we, we probably weren't prepared enough for what actually went down last year, and the DPW guys definitely came in to
I ended up
rescue
really
us.
good at throwing tires up there though.
Yeah, but I know personally, some of us, including me, did not help with some of those mattresses and
Right,
stuff.
right.
so-
Yeah, they took those.
Yeah, well, I mean, Kayla and I were picking I think you might have too, just picking the trash out from the park. That blew away from some of the mattresses. It was bad.
Well, and that was the beauty of like, the city guys, because they went and got the street sweeper. They cleaned up the whole, parking lot afterwards and stuff. Like, they were very, very good. We couldn't have done anything close to that without
No,
them.
they were
so-
amazing.
Yeah.
Nice.
I think we should definitely do the seed packets again, though.
Yes, I was gonna ask about that. Are we planning on doing the seeds in the lawn bag for each?
I thought that was great.
I did too.
I was surprised going up to the cars, how many people were so thankful for those seeds.
Yeah.
know.
They're like, oh my gosh, thank you.
Did we purchase those last year from,
Yeah, it was not a whole lot. I think
oh wait, that was from Amazon, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think Chief ordered them off of Amazon.
What kind of seeds? I wasn't here.
Just wildflowers. Yeah.
just random.
Good idea.
And we put a little
We had a little sticker.
NRBC sticker on them.
That's a real positive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lawn bag, lawn and leaf bag. for
Like a
each
real,
person.
like ours, once
Yep.
the DPW uses to pick up. Good. That's great.
Yeah.
A little something,
Thank
you know?
you, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, we'll wait for an update at the next meeting then. Kids Safety Day. I don't know if the chief has an exact day planned yet, but that's usually in June. Does anyone want to take on that project?
It'll depend on when it is because I have other projects in June as well. So last year it fell on the same day and pretty much the same time, so I wasn't able to help out with that.
I'll probably be available. I might not be able to coordinate it, but I can be there to help with things. I mean, it's really not much of coordinating, just
Right, figuring out.
You just have to have a booth there, is that?
So last year, we had a table there and
we gave away. We had the
we had real flowers and the kids could come up and decorate a flower pot. Like we had plastic flower pots with paint pens and they came up and decorated them and then we helped them plant a flower that they could take home and put on their porch or wherever.
and they loved it.
And they loved it.
So,
It was.
it might be another
We
one.
we were out of flowers before the end, and I think got rid of a lot of seed packets, and yeah, it was just a fun little thing for them to do.
Yeah.
So, I'm willing to coordinate it again. I don't know if anyone has ideas of what we could do with the kids. Not that I need them right now, but if you have suggestions or ideas, just be thinking about it to share at upcoming meetings.
You could do like a birdseed ornament or something like that too. You know, they could hang it outside on a tree. What, I feel like I did one back in the day that was like a pine cone and
It is.
butter or something, you know.
They're cute. They work.
Yeah, so something even as little as that.
Did we, I don't remember, I know we didn't get, I don't think anybody from the cleanup day, but from the safety day, did we get any volunteer people sign up? Because we had that
No.
waiver. Probably brought them, didn't get anything.
No.
Okay.
So just know that that's coming up. We have time. I mean, it doesn't take a lot of planning for it, but once we get more information from the chief as well, I think that will help.
Perfect.
All right. Public comments.
Wind.
All right. Anything for the good of the order? Jess? Kathy? Lucas?
I think we touched on everything that's relevant right now.
Okay. Liz? Jess? Kayla? Called you Jess.
Nothing.
I don't have anything either.
Luck tonight.
Nothing else? I don't need any luck. I just have to sit there and wait for it to
I
happen.
know, but I used to watch
How
my
close?
son run. and
He's
it was
16
like a
away,
bullet.
Oh, good luck.
so he could have had it the other night.
Who do you play tonight?
Marion. And they're tough, but
And it's a home game, right?
no, I gotta go to Marion.
Please go then.
Yeah, it's all good. All right, it is 4:47.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Thank you, Liz.